Donald Trump has called a secret meeting of his top generals as war once again may be imminent. I mean, the war technically hasn't stopped. There's been this charade of a ceasefire, but there is a top secret meeting taking place right now between Donald Trump and his top generals where they will be discussing further escalation, which would cause a global depression and put our troops at risk and cause massive inflation. The American people would suffer even more. Donald Trump called Iran's response to Trump's demand that Iran surrender a total piece of garbage. And Trump said, I didn't even finish reading what Iran sent me. I don't know, maybe you should actually try to read something, Donald. But this is a meeting that will be taking place in the Situation Room with a large group of generals, we are learning. Also in the room will be J.D. Vance, special envoy to the Middle East, Russia, and just about everywhere else. The pathetic real estate guy, Steve Witkoff, who's somehow in our government, Marco Rubio, Pete Hegseth, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Dan Kane, and the CIA director, John Ratcliffe, are all expected. Now, as this meeting, we now know this meeting has indeed been taking place. The people at this meeting immediately rushed to their source, Barak Ravid, over at Axios, right? Trump's stenographer, Trump's outside propagandist. And here's what's now being published by his stenographers, by his regime media. Citing two U.S. officials, Axios is reporting that Donald Trump is now mulling a plan to conduct limited strikes, kind of what Netanyahu was telling him to do yesterday, against Iran in an effort to coerce them to accede to nuclear talks. Per one U.S. official, he will tune them up a bit, while another official said, I think we all know where this is going. In other words, where this is going seems to be Netanyahu's plan, that war appears to be imminent. Now, per a report, one option on the table is to strike 25% of the targets the U.S. has marked out, but hasn't yet hit. Also, what we're learning is a U.S. Navy Ohio-class nuclear-armed ballistic missile submarine identified as the USS Alaska has docked publicly in Gibraltar with the Royal Marine Security and a 200-meter exclusion zone following these statements by Donald Trump. Ohio-class submarines carry up to 20 Trident nuclear missiles, and they almost never make public port calls. They don't announce when they're going to be somewhere publicly. They're secret, but Donald Trump is announcing the location of a nuclear submarine at the same time he's been saying Iran will experience a powerful glow if they don't agree to our deal and our terms. And the U.S. Navy has indeed confirmed this nuclear-armed Ohio-class ballistic missile submarine has docked. This is not speculative. They've announced the nuclear submarine is there and ready to go. A clear threat by Donald Trump of nuclear warfare and more war crimes out of this regime. Now, Iran's parliament leader, MB Ghalibaf, just responded. Our armed forces are ready to deliver a well-deserved response to any aggression, Ghalibaf explains. Mistaken strategy and mistaken decisions will always lead to mistaken results. The whole world has already figured this out. We are prepared for all options. They will be surprised. Now, Donald Trump accidentally revealed this top secret meeting of generals that was supposed to be kept secret while Donald Trump was in the Oval Office with a group of women politicians to talk about sperm. Donald Trump was talking about men's sperm count, and he had RFK Jr. say that there's a global sperm crisis right now. I did a video on this earlier. Donald Trump told the women, do not speak too long. Do not speak too long. RFK will be talking about sperm, but you do not speak too long, is what Donald Trump told the women, because I have generals waiting for me. So listen to RFK talk about sperm, and you be very quick, because I got to talk to generals. Here's what Trump said. Let's play this clip.
And Dr. Alex Adams, and you'll speak not too long, because I am being waited on by a large group of generals, and That's also important, having to
That
do
it is. Well,
having to do with the absolutely lovely country of Iran. That's the way they pronounce it.
We will get started then.
Then Donald Trump's like, lots of people are saying, do I have a plan? Of course I have a plan. I have the best plan. We've won. That's my plan. Here, play this clip.
A lot of people said, well, does he have a plan? Yeah, of course they do. I have the best plan ever. I mean, Iran has been defeated militarily, totally. They have a little left. They probably built up during this period of time. We'll knock that out in about a day.
Talking about large meetings as well, we're also learning that Donald Trump, when he arrives to China at the end of this week, is bringing the oligarchy tour with him. Trump is expected to bring 17 top U.S. business leaders on this trip to China. Tim Cook, Elon Musk, Larry Fink, other top executives from Apple, Tesla, SpaceX, Meta, Visa, JP Morgan Chase, and Boeing are also expected to attend. Now, Laura Ingraham over at State Regime Media, which calls itself Fox, has also been posting that she does not support Donald Trump doing massive deals with China. And she said this would be really, really bad. But the oligarchies out there taking a trip. I want to also remind you what's been going on in the past 12 hours or so. Iran's foreign minister, Araghchi, just spoke with Saudi Arabia's foreign minister, Faisal bin Farhan, and they spoke about the latest diplomatic process, Donald Trump's threats, and this follows Saudi Arabia's prince, Turki Al Faisal, basically one of the top, if not the number 2 person in Saudi Arabia, publishing an op-ed saying that the plan of this catastrophic Iran war was actually by the United States and Israel to provoke a complete war of all countries in the Middle East, all fighting each other and blowing up each other's desalination plants so that Saudi Arabia would retaliate after Iran, went after Saudi Arabia, and then UAE and Saudi Arabia would go to war, and Israel can kind of sit back and basically be the last one standing in the Middle East. And Turki Al Faisal said, we're not going to fall for that bait. And now we see Saudi Arabia having this call today with Araghchi, the foreign minister of Iran. Also, Donald Trump continues to say, how stupid are they? How stupid are the Iranians? They're stupid. Play this clip.
How stupid? Are they stupid people? They didn't want to believe it. They think that, well, I'll get tired of this, or I'll get bored, or I'll have some pressure. But there's no pressure. There's no pressure at all. We're going to have a complete victory. We've already, in theory, had a complete victory from the military standpoint.
And Donald Trump says, when he has these imaginary calls with Iran, and Trump's like, I deal with them. I say, you're crazy people, you stupid people, you're crazy. You're not talking to them. Donald Trump's just making this up as he looks utterly deranged. Play this clip.
Of lunatics having a nuclear weapon. I deal with them. I say it to them. I say, you people are crazy. I deal with them. They talk differently. I say, you're crazy. You're crazy people. You're nuts. You're not having a nuclear weapon. They think they can talk me into it, and they don't do very well with it. But they know how I feel. They can't have a nuclear weapon. They would use it within an hour after getting it.
And indeed, Donald Trump, was sleeping for most of that Oval Office meeting. And I kid you not, all of the Trump supporters and propagandists out there are saying he wasn't sleeping. He was blinking. He was literally blinking, not sleeping, just so you can see for yourself what went down. Let's play this clip.
During the earliest years of their children's lives. Second, we are cutting unnecessary red tape that forced providers to close, limited access to care, and made it harder for working families.
And then a reminder, Iran issued the following statement yesterday after Donald Trump said he wasn't happy about Iran's response to Donald Trump's demand that Iran surrender. An informed source, this is what Iran told Tasman News, we just saw the reaction of the so-called president of the United States to Iran's response. It doesn't matter at all. No one in Iran drafts plans to please Trump. The negotiation team should only draft plans for the rights of the Iranian nation. And if Trump is not satisfied with it, that is naturally better. Trump generally does not like reality. That is why he keeps on losing to Iran. Finally, I'll share this with you. Danny Citronitz, a prominent expert in the Middle East, was on Fareed Zakaria, and Citronitz Citronix, he used to be in Israel. He was the person in charge of intelligence regarding Iran in that region. And he's been very critical of the Trump regime's approach. And here's what he had to say about where things stand. Let's play it.
Let me ask you, at this point, you've just heard, I'm sure, that the Iranians have said they have responded to the American proposal. Do you think that response is going to move this forward? I mean, who's the person really who has to move here, Iran or the United States?
Thank you for inviting me. Definitely is the U.S. The ball is in the U.S. court because of the fact there is no much room in the Iranian eyes for compromises. Now, they are demanding lifting of the naval blockade. They want to negotiate first and foremost the condition to end the war, and only then to negotiate on the nuclear issue. And it goes straight to your column saying that the U.S. administration need to decide whether he wants to topple this regime, and then you have to return back to war, a serious war, lengthy war, or he want to compromise with the regime, but then he has to show compromises in a way that he has to accept some of the Iranian demands. So I think it's all could turn back to the White House, to the president, and what he will decide eventually will tell us whether we are going to escalation or some sort of a compromise and agreement.
And folks, we continue to see the U.S. Air Force's massive airlift activity over Europe today towards the Middle East. And you can see this massive buildup taking place. And whether strikes will take place soon, we'll leave that for a next video as we follow what's happening. But make sure you hit subscribe. Help us get to 7 million subscribers. Thanks so much for watching, everybody.
Want to stay plugged in? Become a subscriber to our Substack at MeidasPlus.com. You'll get daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, ad-free episodes of our podcast, and more exclusive content only available at MeidasPlus.com.